In this video, we're gonna go through 10 different smartphone gimbal moves that you can use when you're out filming to get some better shots in your videos. Now I'm at this epic location out in Anza with these crazy landscapes and some cool desert art. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna put all of these smartphone gimbal moves together and show you an entire sequence from everything that I was shooting out here in this landscape. Now, number one is the push forward. And this is like the essential gimbal move that you see whenever you see someone working with a gimbal. And to do this movement, you walk forward in space with your camera at the same level. The idea is that you're pushing in on the subject that you're filming. Now, one word of caution, when you're working with a gimbal, you want to get smooth shots, which means not a lot of bumping up and down with that horizon. So to do this, you're gonna get down low, kind of walk like a ninja, and you're gonna try to keep the gimbal as stable as possible. If you just walk, normally, you're gonna have some up and down motion. So just always keep that in mind when you're working with a gimbal. You wanna try to keep the camera at the same level. This contraption will keep it super smooth, but there's still a chance that you'll see some of those footsteps. Number two is one of my favorite moves, and that is the orbit. So you're gonna keep your subject centered, and you wanna keep the distance between you and that subject, and you wanna walk in a circle. This is gonna create a big arc, and it's gonna show a lot of motion. And one thing to note, if you're using a wide lens on your smartphone, you're gonna see a lot of motion when you're close to objects. However, when you use one of the longer lenses on your camera, you're gonna see a lot of motion in the background. So for the orbit mode, if you use the long lens, you'll create what's called parallax, and that's where the background is moving faster than the foreground, and you get this really cool effect. Number three is the slider. And this is where you're gonna keep your gimbal level and you're gonna move left or right. So it mimics like a slider or a dolly shot that you would see in a movie. And a cool thing that you can do is pair this with a reveal. So start from behind an object and then slide out to reveal the scene. And also one tip when doing the reveal is lock your focus to the background of the end of the shot so that your focus isn't pinging between the foregrounded element and the background that you are revealing. Now, number four is the pull back. Now, this is just like that push in that we saw in number one. However, we're gonna be moving backwards. And so this is a great move to use when you have your subject full frame and you move backwards to reveal the scene that's around the subject. Number five is the low shot. And the cool thing about using a smartphone gimbal is that you can get it super low and keep it just above the ground. This is gonna show a ton of motion in your shot. And then if you pair it with a scene like this, well, you can add a reveal and it shows this grand landscape that's out over this cliff. Now, the gimbal that I'm using for my phone is the DJI OM6. And if you wanna learn more about this gimbal, I'll put a link in the description for you to check it out. Now, number six is the follow. And this is where you're following a person or an object or something in motion. And with this, you just wanna follow right behind your subject and try to keep your distance. It's kind of that third person point of view as they're moving through the space. Now, with this move, if they turn, well, you'll want to turn with them. So you're kind of glued to their back and you're following them throughout the entire scene. Now, number seven is very similar. It's a follow. However, you're going to be moving at a different pace than your subject. So for this shot, I'm following Jesse, but I'm also going to be moving around him. And so you could play around with the motion where you're adding in this orbit feel around your subject while also keeping pace as they're moving through the scene. Number eight is the jib shot, and using a gimbal makes this shot so much easier. This is where you start down low and you swing the camera up high. Now, one thing that you can do that takes this to the next level is add an extension pole at the bottom of the gimbal. Here I have a big long extension pole so I can get this huge sweeping shot as I go from the ground up and over and reveal the entire landscape in the distance. Number nine is the pan. And so instead of sliding left or right, you're gonna twist left or right. And you could easily do this hand holding the camera, but with a gimbal, it's so much smoother. And so whenever I'm doing my pans, instead of just using my wrist and twisting, I like to put my whole body into it, and it creates this big, smooth, arcing motion to show the entire landscape that's in front of me. And number 10 is the look up. So if you're filming with a subject or you have something cool like these metal sculptures, well, instead of always keeping the camera at eye level, put the camera down low and look up, because you get this really cool perspective that you don't normally see. And using a gimbal, you can get these shots where you're looking up in the sky fairly easily. Now with this move, think of where the sun is, because if you put the sun behind your subject, well, you can use that, and as you rotate around doing an orbit move, you can have the sun flare and create a really cool effect. Now let's put all these smartphone gimbal moves together and let's watch the final video. Now next, make sure you check out this video right here, which shows you the difference between beginner gimbal moves and pro gimbal moves. I'll see you over there.